and had once been on the federal terrorist watch list.
It's like the bit in the movie where they're all standing around in the indentation in the ground and you see it's Godzilla's footprint. And that's what it is with this freelance jihadist thing. It's Godzilla's footprint and it's staring at us and it's so obvious we can't see it.
Are we missing the signs of an emerging homegrown jihadism? Or are these just isolated incidents that fall far short of a serious threat? The other side of the argument after the news break. So far this hour, we've recounted a series of chilling plots and violent attacks that apparently have one thing in common. These acts seem to be motivated by a radical jihadist ideology. Now, you've heard from people like New York City Police Commissioner Ray Kelly, who argues a new kind of homegrown jihadist threat is emerging. But that can be a tougher case to make where there's no ravaged skyline to remind folks of the carnage terrorists can cause in the blink of an eye. High alert at Los Angeles International Airport. Many forget LA almost had its own 9/11 before New York City. The so-called Millennium Bomber planned to hit LAX on New Year's Eve, 1999, but was stopped by alert border officials.
People have to understand that this is real and we're going to get hit here too. It's just a matter of time.
Michael Downing, who heads up the LAPD's Counterterrorism Bureau, has found that he isn't only fighting potential terrorists, but also a sense that the threat is overblown.
Complacency kind of creeps into people's minds.
Downing, however, is keenly aware of local signs pointing to a real homegrown terror threat in and around LA. July 5th, 2005, Torrance, California. These two men are caught robbing the Chevron station. Nothing really remarkable about that, but what police find in the robber's apartment is alarming.
They got into the premises of these two suspects who they arrested, and there they found literature.
Radical Islamic literature and plans to attack local synagogues and military facilities, says LA Police Chief William Bratton.
These people were, in fact, intent on committing terrorist acts here in the United States.
And they've since pled guilty to terrorism charges. It was another homegrown Islamic terror plot, broken up before it could hatch.
The idea is we are all about prevention. So there is really nothing too small that we don't want to at least take a look at when it comes to our attention.
We've had two plots that got disrupted back east. We're going to go over both of them real quick, see what lessons we can learn from them.
Chief Bratton and Deputy Chief Downing gave Fox News a rare peek inside their counter-terror operation called Archangel.
Well, we are on our way to a target location that, through analysis, has deemed to be likely to have terrorist activity.
These undercover cops have been trained to spot homegrown terrorists. Chief Bratton says this is what it takes to protect Los Angeles from the real threat of a devastating terror attack. But Hussam Ayloush, from the Los Angeles office of the Council on American Islamic Relations, claims the threat of homegrown Islamic terror in LA and nationwide is overstated.
How many people have been killed based on homegrown terrorism falsely in the name of Islam? Zero.
That's right. Ayloush denies any of the killings we've told you about this hour were motivated by a radical Islamic ideology. Ayloush further argues that most terroristic acts in America since 9/11 have not been carried out by Muslims and had nothing to do with Islam. Murderous rampages at Virginia Tech, an Amish schoolhouse in Pennsylvania, and a mall in Nebraska support his point. And so Ayloush concludes, if we're going to target specific groups, there are others more deserving of the intense focus of law enforcement.
There's a better solution than surveillance, actually. How about we put all priests in jail? That will prevent crimes of child molestation by certain deranged priests. How about we put all African Americans and Latinos in jail and internment camps? That will prevent the minority of extremists or criminal gangsters within those communities. The solution is not to treat the whole Muslim community as a suspect community. This is not about ignoring a threat, but this is also should not be about exaggerating any threat in a way that promotes certain political agendas.
But we've seen that, if anything, law enforcement officials have gone to great lengths to downplay the apparent jihadist motivation behind acts of violence involving Muslims. Even still, this former FBI agent agrees with Aylush's point that we've gone too far in targeting Muslims.
As we move forward from 9/11, it becomes time to be a little bit more circumspect.
Jim Weddick actually tried to testify in defense of Hamid Hayat, the young Muslim from Lodi, California, who twice trained in al-Qaeda camps. Hayat, we told you, was ultimately convicted of providing material support to terrorists. But Weddick thinks the FBI simply caught Hayat in a small lie, blew it up into a major case, and sent him to prison without producing any real evidence that he intended to attack America.
He gave a statement, and the statement was proven to be false because he said he didn't go to a camp, and then he changed his mind and said he did go to a camp. Did the government, although they ran a 4-year undercover operation, did they produce evidence of the camp where there are terrorist activities? No.
Weddick also believes the Lackawanna 6 case was a miscarriage of justice. You'll remember these men also trained in al-Qaeda camps, but never took steps to attack the United States.
It was a bunch of men that went to Pakistan to learn training, but you know what? They got tired of sleeping under the stars. You know, it was a little bit too tough to want to become terrorists, and they came home.
Finally, Weddick says, the Miami 7 case is yet another example of law enforcement overreacting after 9/11. He worked with their defense team, too. Though a government videotape shows the suspects swearing allegiance to al-Qaeda, the defense says they only pretended to be terrorists because government informants offered them money. In December 2007, a federal jury acquitted one suspect and failed to convict the others. Those 6 men are being retried. Their case went to the jury a week ago. Regardless of the outcome, Weddick says the decision to prosecute was ill-conceived from the start.
There were no detonator cords, there weren't any explosive, there wasn't any ammunitions. Pretty pathetic stuff.
When I talk to people that are with the FBI or the CIA, they feel that by prosecuting these cases, that it sends a message that we are not complacent, that we are on the offensive.
You know, that's what they say officially. None of these cases brought in the United States did the government ever produce anybody, any evidence suggesting that someone had prepared a bomb. It was a host of factors that they say was taken down long before any damage was done. Someone's intent, someone's actual ability to do harm needs to be taken into the equation.
Every jihadist is a joke if you catch him in time. If those September 11th guys had been caught on September the 10th, they would have seemed like jokes too.
Not everybody is going to be your Muhammad Atta or Ziyad al-Jarrah of the 19 who attacked us on 9/11. You're going to have layers. It's a layer cake of people who are extremely advanced, of people who are seeking to become advanced, and of people who, in our view, would be very naive in undertaking these activities.
Waleed Faris, who has studied the spread of jihadist movements worldwide, says that focusing on just the ability of individual radical Muslims to do America harm at a particular point in time obscures the full extent of the problem. A violent jihadist movement that is springing up around us.
The natural trend of all the plots is to create a possibility whereby there will be action in several cities to bring down national economy, to bring down national security.
And to see the possibilities for homegrown jihad, you only have to look across the Atlantic Ocean to Europe.
We are 100% committed to the cause of Islam. We love death the way you love life. What you have witnessed now is only the beginning.
To order your DVD copy of Jihad USA, Homegrown Terror, log on to foxnews.com/special.
We've told you about a number of homegrown jihadist plots and acts of violence in America. And you've also heard from people who insist they don't add up to much of a threat. But those same arguments were heard in Europe until a series of homegrown terror attacks rocked the continent.